for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody. Thanks for being with us here. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. We are at the Doug Smith Mitsubishi here in American Fork. If over the next couple of days you find yourself in a spot where you go, oh, you know what, I was driving by there, I wanted to give that thing a test drive, the Outlander that they were talking about, come do it. Come give it a shot for yourself. Just off of Main Street. It's the Main Street exit here in American Fork, just about a half a mile east. Go past the In-N-Out Burger and you get yourself down the road, and you're going to find an amazing deal at a Mitsubishi. Let's kick off the program as we always do. Our show brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar the perfect protein bar. Let's get to the cut right here because I want you to be able to hear some comments by the offensive coordinator for the BYU Cougars. He's Aaron Roderick, and let's get to the cut right here.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And, of course, this portion of the show brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJANwealth.com. For your local trusted financial needs and retirement, it is TrajanWealth.com. All right, JJ, let's listen to a little bit of what Aaron Roderick had to say, kicking things off with his bowl availability. And it's not just about the bowl game. It's about everything else that goes on in the offseason. And let's kick it right off here with A-Rod talking about everything from this bowl game to facing off against the Heisman Trophy winner, facing off against this Colorado team, on top of trying to face off against the offseason and the players that you're going to keep, players who are going to leave possibly. And if you listen in, there's a possibility for some of these big names to maybe come back again. So here's what A-Rod said starting off about talking about the insane ability of this team that they're taking on in Colorado at the Alamo Bowl coming up on the 28th. Here's A-Rod.
We get to compete against each other every day, our offense against their defense, and then we've had a period of practice every day where we kind of do some developmental stuff with the younger guys. So we've been getting a really good look at our younger players, that guys that haven't played a lot this year. Yeah, maybe, but anyway, he's probably the best football player I've ever seen. I mean, he's an unbelievable player. To play 100 and something snaps every game and be that good on offense, and then cover people the way he does in the fourth quarter of games after he's played 100 plays is like, I've never seen it like it. Lots of respect for him. I think we would like to get a little bit more depth at O-line. We like the guys that are returning, but a little more depth there would be good. We're not desperate for it. It's got to be the right guy and the right fit. There's a chance maybe. I think we're addressing our need at tight end, and other than that, I think we're in pretty good shape.
Do you need depth at quarterback or no?
We like the guys we have. Well, I think you never say never at any position. Anytime you have a chance to get a player that helps your team get better, you have to be open to that. But our needs, like immediate need, would be just a little more depth at O-line, and that's pretty much it. We really like the QBs we have. McKay Hillstead and Trayson Bourget have really made a lot of progress in the past year, as has Jake. And so we're pretty excited to think about where those three guys can be in a year from now.
When you bring up that they've made progress, how do you kind of define that without game snaps? Like, where do you see that progress?
Just practice. We try to make these, we're scrimmaging basically every day in these bowl practices. It's almost like an extra spring ball. By the time we play the game, it's almost as much work as we get in spring. And so McKay and Trayson have gotten a portion of every practice so far, and we've got 6 or 7 practices left. So we'll keep pushing. And I just see progress every day. Just those guys managing the offense with more efficiency all the time, and just like we saw to Jake, over the past year. And I think in a year from now, those three guys, it's pretty exciting to think about where they can be by this time next year.
Who does Colorado's defense resemble, if anybody, that you've seen?
The NFL. It's a very NFL-style defense. Defensive coordinator came from the NFL. Obviously, Coach Prime's an NFL guy. They got a bunch of NFL coaches. They have very skilled, play lots of man coverage. and their pass rush is real, man. Those ends, those defensive linemen want to get after the quarterback. They're very good defense. I have a lot of respect for these guys. They're good.
When you bring up their D-line, I think of some of your personnel on the offensive line. Is Keim, I know you kind of didn't rule out the possibility of him playing the postseason.
Keim won't be back, no. He won't be here. We were hoping, there was a long shot, a while back there was a long shot hope of that, but he's not going to be available.
How about Jada? I don't think he played in the last.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be available either. We were hopeful there too, but I don't think he will.
So Whalen keeps going at tackle, and how do you feel like
possibly we have some other options there. That's one of the nice things about the bowl game is we've been working a variety of combinations of trying to get our best 5 out there, and then have contingency plans for if this guy goes down, what's our best 5? If that guy goes down, what's our best 5? And we've gotten pretty good at that this year. We've played a lot of different offensive linemen, and we got pretty thin at the end of the season. There in November, it was pretty thin, but we'll be ready.
What are your expectations for Jake going into this matchup? What do you want to see out of him?
I just wanted to see him take another step forward. I thought he had a very good season. I thought, in November, did not play his best. We didn't play our best as an offense in November, but I think that if you look at the overall big picture of the season, he had a very good year, and I expect him to just take another step forward in this game and then just keep incremental steps into next season. I expect him to be one of the best quarterbacks in college football next year. Yeah, it's hard, and I agree with comments that I've heard by a lot of coaches that this is crazy that we have the transfer portal open while we still have games going on. There's a lot of madness, but the only thing you can do is just adapt to it and figure it out, because it is what it's happening. And do I like it? No, but we have to just deal with it and do our best. And I think we're doing a good job of managing it, and I think we have a really good team coming back next year and good players that have already told us they're staying, and so we just got to keep working our way through it.
Is one of those guys who's staying, is it Jake? Is he laid it out to what his plans are?
I'm going to let our players do their own thing on that, but we've had some good players that we really like that tell us they're staying, and we're excited about that.
Between the Houston game and now, how much of the time spent of exit interviews and kind of getting a vision of what these guys are planning on doing for next year? How much of that? Yeah,
that's a good question. We met with all of our players right away after that game, and that's normal. You always do that. At last game of the season, you meet with all your players, and so we did that right after that game. Well, I think the biggest thing about bowl games is just usually the team that's most excited about being there usually wins. That's the first thing. I mean, that's you got to show up excited to play and be excited to finish the season on the right note. So it starts with just enthusiasm and being excited about the game itself. And then I think we have a good practice format that we do here where we get a lot of good work, but it's the practices aren't torture, and then you get a lot of developmental work with the younger players, and I think the older players embrace that, coaching up the younger guys. And so the early part of practice is game plan type stuff, and the second part of practice is development and looking forward to next season.
So the teams that don't have a lot of enthusiasm at bowls are often teams that had a really good September and October and had their dreams dashed in November. How do you work with the psychology of the team, and what's your sense of where the team is after that?
Well, our team is, I think, really proud of being 10-2. I think our team, disappointed to not be in the playoff. You could make an argument that we're better than a couple of teams that are in it, I believe, but nobody here is not excited about playing. We've had a fun year. We've had a great year. I think everybody is excited to play this game for sure. And we're playing against a really good team that we respect a lot, and I think it's going to be one of the most exciting games this month.
Aaron Roderick, BYU's offensive coordinator. A couple things in there stood out to me, JJ. One, he was sheepish about the Chase Roberts question, because initially it was Chase Roberts. Oh, he's going on. He's going to put his name in the hat, become a pro. Man, that'd be huge to be able to recruit him back into the college ranks again. I don't know if it's possible. They're going to see what happens with this bowl game and everything, but that'd be a huge get. That would be probably for them. I think for BYU, it would be as big of any get as you could get in the transfer portal. Maybe even the biggest one is getting Chase Roberts back next year, and maybe it's a little bit of a pie in the sky situation, but I think that once the rumblings are out there, I think maybe he starts leaning in that direction, and maybe he looks and goes, I could still make some NIL money back in college. I could get one more year under my belt with Jake Retzlaff. Why not? I think it'd be huge for BYU.
Yeah, on the surface, you're right. It seems like pie in the sky because of his numbers. You're also looking at his age. being a reason to go jump into the league. We saw Austin Collie a decade ago. That dropped his draft stock a little bit. So there's an urgency to get to the league as soon as possible because the older you are, the less you're seen as a prospect. But in today's day and age with NIL, I don't know what his grade is. That's what's going to determine everything. Even if you're an older player, if you get back like a 5th, 6th, 7th round grade, why not stay another year of college where you can make more money in college than you would as a player in the NFL? That's a reality nowadays. NIL has changed everything. So all of a sudden, somebody like Roberts, who would have jumped 5 years ago, isn't going to jump now because he can make better money playing one last year of big-time college football than to go be a 5th or 6th or 7th round pick in the NFL and make $150,000, $200K a year.
So a month and a half ago, he was leaning toward entering in his name into the NFL draft. That was a month and a half ago, though. I mean, it's an eternity.
Yeah.
When you have a week like college football's had over the past week and a half, just the transfer portal stuff.
He's obviously been thinking about this for a while. The fact that he hasn't made that announcement, he says he's going to make it before the bowl game on social media. But tells me he's probably leaning towards coming back because there's probably been some people behind the scenes maybe trying to work something out financially to incentivize him to stay.
And you know what?
I'm
Either
just
way,
speculating.
Guess what? Either way, he's going to have a big bowl game if they want him. If he wants to go somewhere else or if he wants to stay.
And who would he be playing against? Who would he be lining up against?
Maybe
best
Travis
of the
Hunter.
best, the
Yeah.
Heisman Trophy winner. It's a great opportunity to go out there and prove what you can do, but at the same time, like I said, unless he gets that first, second, third round grade, and you get good enough NIL money to stay here at BYU, it can incentivize somebody like Chase Roberts to play one more year of college football.
So they're adding tight ends, and they did in Carson Ryan yesterday, and that interview was from 2 days ago, and so I think that they're adding some depth at tight end. They want the offensive line depth to be there, and I think after that they're like, look, we like where we're at on offense, but if we can find a couple guys here and there, come on, man. Why you'd be dumb not to be open to any position getting better in the transfer portal. You'd be open to any person who expressed interest in you, and they're a potential, high commodity on that transfer portal list. And you got to do it, man. You've got to do it. So in A-Rod's case, I think that it's smart to always keep your options open. You'd be dumb not to be. If you do the thing where you're like, we have our quarterback, we don't need to look anywhere else. It's like, I know, and you feel like you have some good depth in the quarterback room, but if a name pops up, I mean, John Mateer, shocker. I know he's following his offensive coordinator to Ben Arbuckle to Oklahoma.
Shocking. Yeah,
it's a real shock.
It's official now.
I tossed the coin and I just so happened to land in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I went on all these trips and I just decided, come on now.
The Sooners are the best place for me.
The second his offensive coordinator went to Oklahoma, he was heading to Oklahoma. And I just hate that whatever. I mean, they can do whatever they want. It's their choice to go on these trips.
Don't you dare try to limit that.
You can go play the game all you want. If you're John Mateer, go play the game. But everybody knew he was going to Oklahoma.
Don't you dare try to limit these kids and their ability to be able to make money in the transfer portal. I wonder what that payday looked like for John Mateer.
Oh, big time. 7 figures maybe.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Quarterback
at Oklahoma.
Quarterback at Oklahoma? Yeah.
It's Oklahoma.
I think you're about right. Yeah.
They already had to pay a lot of money to get the offense coordinator with that in mind. It's a package deal. These things are a package deal. Now, what happened to Utah? John Beck comes from New Mexico. Jason Beck comes from New Mexico. And who follows him? His quarterback in New Mexico. Shocker? Was anyone shocked? No. These things are package deals, and it's great for the university that's getting them. And that's how you're going to be successful. If you have an offensive coordinator and a quarterback that are on the same page, and there's synergy there, and they produce, you're going to pay money to have them come to your school and produce. And Utah's doing it. Oklahoma's doing it. There's a number of other schools that are doing it. It makes sense.
Well, that's good news, I think, for BYU fans to hear that Chase Roberts may be waffling a little bit back and forth. You want him to have a big bowl game either way. Yeah. I mean, if he has a really decent performance against Travis Hunter, maybe that pushes him to the NFL. If he has a really good performance and he says, I'm going to run it back again, that'd be really, really good news for BYU. And they're missing it. They're going to be missing a bunch of big names on both the offensive and defensive side of the football. Defense is going to get hit hard.
Yeah.
That's what, when they have that same conversation
and the
with
offensive
Jay Hill,
line, too.
And the offensive line, they're looking for more depth, they said, but in the end, you got to have 10 or 12 guys, and BYU's offensive line proved it this year.
Yeah.
You got to have 10 or 12 guys at all times who are ready to be basically at that top
And
level.
that worries us a little bit because we saw the value of continuity, especially with the BYU football program over the last 2 seasons.
We're going to take a break. We'll come back. We got more to go. When we return, let's get into some NFL news, and we'll get to the Blitz. We'll get you ready on that, and then we've got much more around the corner still with our best and worst. So stay here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah, Jensen. You know what that music means, of course. It's your NFL Blitz. Man, speaking of the Blitz, hey, NFL, you owe me big time. After watching those 2 Monday Night Football games, toggling between those 2 Monday Night Football games.
I want my money back.
Come on, man. Hey, if you get that money back, you can donate it to KSL's Quarters for Christmas, by the way, which is going on right now. KSL's Quarters for Christmas, raising money for local children in need. We've been doing it for decades. 100% of the money that is received is returned to the community to provide kids with shoes, clothing, and coats. You heard right, kids with shoes, clothing, and coats this cold time of year. You could donate online. Go to KSLQuarters.com or at any Deseret Book location there in person. Michael Penix Jr. is going to replace Kirk Cousins. Don't call him Kurt. I don't know what the Falcons are going to do, but, man, I don't know if the experiment is totally over. It's a weird time to be an NFL quarterback, man.
You can't put Kirk Cousins
Well,
back.
when they put it was the very, very, it's the nail in the coffin. Like when the team puts out an official letterhead
that was
statement
weird,
on Twitter,
right?
it's like, oh boy, this is aggressive. This feels very, very intense. And when they made that
Kirk
decision,
Cousins basically got fired.
it's going to be look. This is what I don't know if it's as hardcore as when the Giants did this to Daniel Jones earlier in the season, but it feels very similar. I don't know if they're going to ask him.
This is bigger because
I don't know if they're going to ask him to play safety in practice, but
Daniel Jones, I don't know. Kirk Cousins was offered a lot more money, and he's a lot bigger name. He's a more proven commodity in the NFL. And there was a lot of criticism towards the Falcons for making this deal with Kirk Cousins when they drafted Michael Penix Jr. So now, do the Falcons look bad or do they look good? You can make an argument both ways, right? I can argue that signing Kirk Cousins at that crazy amount was the right thing to do because it was worth the risk. Because if Kirk Cousins is at his best coming off an Achilles, you know you're getting a Pro Bowl level quarterback that's going to put you over the top and get you in the playoffs. If he's not good enough, you believe enough in Michael Penix Jr. that you can bring him in as a rookie and help you make a final push, and that's exactly how it's turned out. I don't think it's the circumstances that they wanted. Certainly not what Kirk Cousins wanted, and it's going to cost them $40 million in dead money next year. But Michael Penix Jr. is on a rookie deal. They can turn him loose. They can give him a chance. And he's got the rest of the season to prove himself. They're only a game out of the playoffs right now.
I did want to look, and I know the Falcons are, they're 7-7, so they're not like, a 2-12 team.
No.
But the Giants versus the Falcons this weekend, let me tell you what that's going to entail. Michael Penix Jr. getting like an official, full-on, full-blooded start.
It's the perfect time, right?
And Tommy Cutlets did not.
Hey!
He didn't do it this last weekend, so they're going to go back to Drew Lock.
Hey, Angela.
Angela, Samantha, Mona. Tommy Cutlets did not get the job done for the Giants. I know it's a shock, and it looks like Drew Lock is going to. So you're going to have Drew Lock versus Michael Penix Jr. Hey, whoever's got that game on Sunday, go ahead and flex me out of that one.
Oh,
would
my
you?
gross. I am not. I love the NFL. I am not watching that game.
I will.
I want nothing to do with that.
But here's why I would. Because I would like to see what Michael Penix Jr. looks like right now. Right? I want to see what he could do.
Sure.
I know what Drew Lock is. You know what Drew Lock is.
Unfortunately.
I know what the Giants are. And so I am interested because this is a Falcons team that has a pretty darn good defense. They have one of the best running backs in the whole league. They got Tyler Algier at running back, who, by the way, did you see he's 5+ per carry this year?
Yeah.
He's 100 carries. He's just over 500 yards.
This Falcons team is good, except the quarterback hasn't been very good lately, which is why they've been struggling.
And listen, they had to cobble it together with the Raiders starting quarterback Desmond Ridder the last couple of years, and it ain't happening, man. And now with the Kirk Cousins experiment, that's a great band name, by the way. The Kirk Cousins experiment. Sign me up, man. I love that Yacht Rock album they did.
Oh, they were one of the best
2000s.
Yacht Rock.
Oh, you're talking
groups
about the,
of all time.
You're talking about the Kirk,
Michael McDonald was in that group.
You talking about the Kirk Cousins experiment?
Wasn't Michael McDonald in the Kirk Cousins experiment?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, speaking of guys who are getting a shot, he says he could be a franchise quarterback. Hey, line up all the people who say they could be franchise quarterbacks. He hopes to be the Browns' starting QB of 2025. Slow your roll, DTR. How about we figure it out before 2024 first? I mean, honestly, Browns.
What's the list at now of Browns quarterbacks over the last 20 years? It's insane.
It honestly, it's like 20 years, and it honestly is like 36 guys.
It's nuts.
And this year, they've had 3, right?
It's the most Browns thing ever.
I know. And by the time it's all said and done, you could see another guy in there. So there you go.
Is Tim Boyle available?
Is Chad Henne on this roster? Can we roll that guy out? I'm trying to figure out all the old. By the way, there are old guys. Hey, get Chase Daniel back out of retirement.
Why not?
He's been a backup forever.
I'm sure he's kept in shape.
He's like, actually, don't put me in the game at all.
I'm
I
not
prefer
interested.
Not to. My career.
The Browns in December?
I want to keep my career $700,000 per pass attempt still up there.
He's probably making more with his YouTube channel now than he is with the
for sure
NFL.
All right, we'll take the break here. We'll come back. We've got our best and worst coming up next, and we're going to dip in another time here with Mitch at the Doug Smith dealership in American Fork. It's your Mitsubishi, your local friendly Mitsubishi dealership. So come check it out. We've got our best and worst next. Don't want to miss any of it. 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone. Hey, our best and worst, guess who it's brought to you by?
Doug Smith Dealerships.
Doug Smith
I've listened to the
Dealerships.
show enough to know.
In American Fork, Spanish Fork, now in Linden, of course, at their Kia dealership. And we're at the Mitsubishi here in American Fork.
This is
brand
new and shiny.
It is brand new and shiny, and you can get brand new and shiny Mitsubishis for an amazing price right now, too. Best of the day. We'll be chatting with Mitch in just a moment here. All right, so here's what we got. The best story of the day is that Alabama's athletic director, in a month where the only other comment that he's made about football has been that they are going to have to reconsider how difficult they make their schedule going forward. Like we got to make it more cupcakey. Ooh, cupcakey.
We didn't play enough Mercers this year. We need to add another.
Can you throw a Furman in for me?
It's like, hey, Mercer was in the playoff. They were in the FCS playoffs.
Hey, Tennessee, what was it like playing UTEP? Was that fun?
Jeez.
We'll get it. We'll put one of those on our schedule, huh?
Alabama didn't even. They went full FCS. They didn't even play a.
This is my favorite.
At least UTEP's an FBS school.
This is my favorite. Alabama's athletic director has asked Tide fans at all of the meetings that they've had and also on social media now. Greg Byrne has the guts to get on there and say it's time to fight back for Bama Nation.
Oh, my gosh.
It's time, Bama Nation. Let's fight back. What are we going to fight back against? You know, all the –
Tide.
Yeah, absolutely roll dang Tide. On top of it, but I just love the idea. This is what you have to do, though. Like this is if you're going to market yourself, and by the way, Greg Byrne is 100% marketing for the football team,
yes.
90% of the time, the other, and then 8% of the time for basketball, and then the other 2% of the time for everything else, okay? Greg Byrne is always on the lookout, and this is what you have to do from a PR perspective to go, you guys, does it feel good to be 9-3 and left out? We're playing in the freaking ReliaQuest Bowl. Y'all don't even know what ReliaQuest is. It's not a video game, all right? The ReliaQuest Bowl, who are they playing against, too?
Don't care.
And neither do they. The players don't care either.
Couldn't tell you don't care.
And guess what? They don't want to play in it either.
No, they don't.
And they're like, let's fight back against having to play in this crap bowl.
But the nerve of Bama, of all
I know.
places,
We need
that's
your
been
money.
handing out
We need
bags
your help.
forever. Please, we need your help. We're getting beat here in the NIL era.
I just checked our checking account. It looks like we got 38 cents left. Y'all, come on.
Well, that's after they paid for Cam Calhoun.
I know.
That's probably why you had to do this today.
For sure.
They just spent.
Come on, y'all.
They just spent way too much money on a Utah player that
May or may not
needed
pan
5
out.
guys to get hurt to get on the field.
Right, may or may not play down
May
there
not,
at Bama.
may not.
To be honest, yeah. 9-3 under Kalen DeBoer. I love the idea too. Just imagine the call-in shows. They're 9-3 at the very year after Nick Saban. They were frankly on the cusp of the college football playoff anyway. And Kalen DeBoer, massive failure. Massive failure. How dare you? All right. Joining us one final time. That's best and worst, by the way, at the same time. It's a sarcastic best. It is a full-on, yes, full-blooded worst.
A lot of nerve.
From
a lot
those
of
guys.
nerve.
Mitch, even if people don't have a lot of money in their NIL accounts, they can still come down and get some good deals on these Mitsubishis.
Well, there might be some players in the state that have some NIL money to spend.
Well,
What better
true.
place
Yeah, well.
on a new Mitsubishi?
This, look, at least
Just because you're getting NIL doesn't mean you don't go find a good deal.
Well, and on top of it, I'll just tell you right now, the leases sometimes those NIL deals give out aren't nearly as good as these right
No.
here. So let's go. Well, let's talk a little bit about let's wrap up our conversation today about these Outlanders that are just they're trying to. Mitsubishi wants people to come down and test drive them and just
That's
take a
the big thing. I mean, that's the thing I think I'd like to put out there is just you owe it to yourself to come down and just see how good the car is. Get in it, feel it, drive it, listen to it, do the whole thing, and I think if you do that, you're going to be impressed. And then when you match that against the rates and the pricing and the lease programs and everything else that's attached to these cars, it's just it's an amazing opportunity right now to get into a really high-end car for a really low-end price.
It's amazing you're telling us about the price. How are you guys able to do it? Because you can't find this everywhere.
No, basically what's going on is on these PHEVs, they've got some tax credit and tax money that they're going to, well, not just that, but some incentives from the government
Yes.
as well. That basically lowers the price. I mean, you're down over $9,000 off on these cars when you start your lease through all the money that they're applying to the car. So, you know, it's not going to be around forever.
Right.
I'm not sure what Trump might do with these programs. So, get in here and get it before it goes away.
There you go.
Best thing to do is just come down. It's right here in American Fork, Main Street exit. Just come down about a half a mile down the road here. The Doug Smith family of dealerships, they've had different dealerships around here. The Chrysler Jeep Dodge is right here next door, and the Mitsubishi is right here. You can come check it out. And again, Mitch and all these guys are saying, look, there's a reason why a lot of these sales guys are driving these around. It's kind of a killer deal. It's beyond an amazing deal, so come check it out.
Yeah, it's almost too hard to believe, but it is true. So check
You
it
can
out.
come down
Awesome.
and take the test drive. Mitch, thanks for hanging out with us today.
All right,
Mitch.
you guys, thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
You
All
guys
right.
have a great one.
We'll take the break here. We'll be back again tomorrow on this program. JJ? Well, no, not tomorrow. We'll be back right around the corner. Sorry, I've been shortening you on.
I can't go home yet?
No. Grab some candy, buckle down.
All right,
buckle in.
one more hour.
Let's do
Here
it.
we go.
Right around the corner, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.